This is Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hour number 2, Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Mike Somich on a Saturday for the next 2 hours. Appreciate you guys being with us. Be it on Channel 158 over on Sirius YouTube TV. Our very own VSiN Watch app, by the way, that is free in the download station for wherever you want to go. Like, get that on your phone. And for the $59 special that we're running right now, you can see the video feed of us for the next from now until August the 1st. Mike, why would you not go and do it?
I mean, pretty easy decision.
Yes.
Just go sign up all summer, $59. You get the Derby guide. You get all the information there. You got Masters. You got U.S. Open. You got all the summer sports with baseball as well. And don't forget, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, a lot coming up this summer here, Matt.
2.5 across the board in favor of Florida. Auburn is not, it just hasn't quite gotten enough love there for Auburn. We're seeing a little bit of juice here and there, Mike, but just not quite enough Auburn love to get this thing off the 2.5 as we sit. 159 is the market low on the total. Actually, 158.5, I should say. ESPN bet just hit 158.5. So 158.5 your market low, 159.5 your market high on this total. Down to 158.5 out there a little bit. I mean, we are seeing some serious movement here as this widely open, kind of 161.5, 162, down all the way to a market low of 158.5.
Yeah, I think we've gone too far. I simply think, 161, 162 wasn't really interested in popping the over. When we got down to the 159 number, these teams want to run. Florida wants to get out. They want to move up and down the court. They've played each other before. You're not going to have that feeling out period in this spot. Auburn doesn't mind running either. We saw 171 points combined with these two teams in the first matchup. And oh, by the way, if this is a close game late, you're going to see a lot of fouls. You're going to see a lot of threes. There's opportunities for point late in the game as well. And we're lined at 2.5 overtime, not completely out of the question either. To me, we've kind of gone too far on the total here. I understand why the under money came in those low 160s. 159, I'll take the over.
Mike, I have been monitoring like a hawk this Twitter feed that I have over here, a highly curated list of all of the brightest minds in all of the sporting industry. Nothing on Janai Broom. I'm trying to get any sort of insight, any sort of anything. I imagine if you were Auburn, you were keeping this very, very, very close to the vest. We might not know anything until shoot around, and even then, he might not do all that much, Mike, and so we might not know then. Of course, that could drastically affect your handicap in this game, depending on how he looks. But again, as we sit right now, and still several hours until tip, I mean, not a peep here on the Twitter machine.
I would almost expect it to show up in the betting market first, Matt. Like if you see a sudden move to Florida minus 4.5, Florida minus 3.5, that tells you the status.
He didn't look very good. Yeah, he didn't look
Exactly.
very good. Someone saw him walking around and something looked off or something or whatever it is. So again, 2.5 widely available at every single one of the major books out there, and then 159.5 your prevailing total, though you can find a 158.5 if you are looking at the over. We're still sitting 4.5 pretty much at most of the books out there. Still a 5 at Caesars if you want to take the 5 with Houston. So, Mike, this has kind of been, at least from last night until today. Actually, yesterday morning there was a 5.5, but pretty much all Houston money of late, getting this thing to 4.5, 136.5 our total.
Yeah, the 5.5 number clearly was just not going to last. We saw money start pouring in as soon as we got there. Now we're seeing it move the other direction. I'm interested to see where the money comes in for the rest of the day. I would lean. I have a Houston 5.5 ticket. If this gets to 4, I'm probably betting Duke, right? So we'll see what happens here just from a number perspective, because there is a little bit of value if you get to that 4, 3.5 type Duke number. A little bit of total uptick here. We were at 136 last time we talked about it. Now we're at 136.5. Again, I like the first half under. I do think this is going to be a slower game, especially in the first half. If this game gets out of hand and Duke gets the lead, I think that's how you push it toward the over. I don't think it does that in the first half. Houston been a very good first half team. I think this is a very tight, hard-fought battle early. So like the first half under at 63.5 here.
Major League Baseball, we said that Tigers team was a minus 250 favorite, and we're like, wow, they're already minus 250 here a week and a half into the season. 6-1 in favor of.
There's a reason.
Yeah, 6-1 here in favor of the Tigers over the White Sox. Again, whatever a Davis Martin is, has not done his job so far, and so we have make that 7-1 there, Mike. So this is like the money line is going to be infinity essentially at this point, because with the White Sox, minus 1 and so many zeros that like my eye, I can't even like make out exactly what it is. So it's Tigers by a ton.
If you'd like to bet the run line, you can lay 7 with Detroit.
12.5 live on the total there in that one. But we do have a first pitch coming here in about 5-6 minutes. That is the Astros and the Twins. Spencer Arrighetti against Bailey Ober. This is -130. Twins at home. This is Astros +110 on the road. 7.5 is our total. You do have a bet here in this one.
Yeah, I've got a couple bets here in this one. We heard Scott talk about these two pitchers and how he expects them both to be able to go a little bit deeper in this game. I kind of agree they're going to be stuck out there. We'll see what happens from a runs perspective. I like the over 7.5 in this spot. Ober was awful in his first start. He doesn't mind giving up home runs. The wind's blowing out in this game at 13 miles per hour toward the left center field fence. This just feels like one of those games where you're going to have success for the Astros bats, and I don't think Arrighetti completely shuts down the Twins. So I'll take over the 7.5 here, and let's sprinkle on a couple home run props as well. Jose Altuve is 2 for 9 against Ober with 2 home runs. Alvarez has 2 home runs and 8 at-bats against Ober. Right now, you can get them at Alvarez at +320 to hit a home run, and Altuve at +850 to hit a home run. So give me the over 7.5 here, and then I'll take a couple minor swings here with Alvarez and Altuve each to hit a home run.
Yeah, I'm a little bit higher on Arrighetti, I think, than the market is, at least from this start perspective, because I just hate this Minnesota lineup so far. I mean, they're rolling out. I mean, they still have Correa, Buxton in there, but I mean, outside of that, they're trying to make Matt Wallner a leadoff guy for them. Ty France, Willie Castro, Jose Miranda didn't hit for any power, but it's
not good.
Yeah, it's just not a great lineup. I kind of have him at right at 6 innings in this one, and kind of right at a K an inning, So I kind of have him right at that total. So I think Arrighetti puts together a pretty decent start here in this one against the Twins lineup that I just think is pretty terrible, actually.
Yeah, I looked at Astros first 5 +105 here too. That was the other look that I thought was interesting, because then you're banking on Arrighetti getting through the 5 and Ober getting beat up a little bit. So I don't hate the look of Astros first 5 +105 if you want to go that direction.
Yeah, it's just until we see something different from Minnesota, I think it's one of those where I'm fading them basically at all costs if possible. About 10 minutes after that, we are going to get the Padres and the Cubs. This is Nick Pivetta versus Matt Boyd. This is currently about -120-ish on the Cubs at home, a little bit better than even money on the Padres on the road. This total, is it really at 6.5?
Yep.
Wow.
We're get this is terrible baseball weather, Matt. We saw this yesterday as well. Wind blowing in up to 15 to 20 miles per hour during the game. 3-1 final in that game. The Cubs scored 3 runs. 2 of them were walked in. The other one scored on an error. That was how poor the offenses were yesterday in similar conditions. That's why you're seeing the under get popped here today. I took under 3.5 first 5. You can get that number at +100 if you search out there. So I like the under in this game, specifically in the first half with these two starters. The weather is absolutely atrocious in Chicago, and this is one of the ballparks where when it's cold and the wind's blowing in, it is near impossible to hit a home run and very difficult to string together hits. So I do like the under here at 3.5 in the first 5, Matt.
Yeah, and despite the fact that you don't hate these lineups, and obviously the Padres have been playing out of their minds here to start the season. Sometimes the elements just take over, and you can't really. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can't overcome no matter who you're putting in the batter's box.
And when you take away the home run potential from both these lineups, when Tucker and Suzuki aren't homering for the Cubs, when you don't have the Machado homers from San Diego, it's much less likely these lineups are able to string together hits to be able to produce those runs. That's what we saw yesterday. It was a very walk-aided run game that only got to 4 runs scored.
Diamondbacks and the Nats, and that is currently -130 for the Diamondbacks on the road. You can get about a +110-ish, 115-ish price out there if you want to back Washington here in this one. Rodriguez versus Parker, and this one, unlike the last one, we got a 9 total here in this one.
Yeah, a little bit more runs expected in this game here. Look, we talked about this before the season. I'm clearly higher on Arizona than the mass majority of bettors out there, and I'm clearly lower on the Nationals as well. I realize Rodriguez not great, right? This is one of the poorer starters that you're going to see from Arizona. I thought they should be -150 in this game. So I bet a -120 earlier today. The market's starting to agree with me. We're seeing it move to -130. I'd still like the Diamondbacks in this spot. I think this is just a better baseball team than the Washington Nationals, and they should be favored by more than they are. Like I said, my metrics put this closer to -150. So the Diamondbacks, even with the worst starter on the hill at -120, I thought was value.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I'm mildly intrigued by Parker as a starter. Like I don't.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, like I'm mildly intrigued by him, but it's kind of more of a wait and see what's like going on with him, I think, than it is anything else. So if anything, I might like go the opposite way, like you're saying, and just go against him. And if he proves me wrong, then maybe he can just be a guy that we can back moving forward, even though he's plays on a poor team. But I'm inclined to go Diamondbacks as opposed to anything else. We got more baseball to talk, and we will for sure. But guys, if you haven't checked out sharpplays.com yet, head over to Sharp Plays. You can go in. Not only are they tracking the best bettors out there in the market, they've been doing this since 2011, but they just introduced an AI betting analyst as well, so you can go in and take advantage of that. Real-time betting action reports, alerts, and more through email and X directly from the pros themselves. Explore all the records, including online logs, right there on the website, sharpplays.com. Me and Mike were talking about fantasy baseball because, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a grind. Like, it's a grind.
It is.
If you play it, it's a grind. And we understand, we've been doing it for long enough where you understand it's a long season, yet we're like a little bit in the season. I'm kind of like, my team sucks. Like my team's terrible. Like we got literally a blip of a sample size, and I'm like, man, this team's terrible. I hate my team so much.
I am very proud of my drafting ability. I was on air drafting. Remember Cedric Mullins? He's been good for me so far. The on air draft went phenomenally well.
Stumbled into Cedric Mullins, by the way. When we come back, Aaron Halterman on all things sports.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Summich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Matt Brown, Mike Summich here on Ready, Set, Bet, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. And Mike, you know there's that scene in Pulp Fiction when Mia goes to the restroom and she comes back and she goes, "Don't you just love it when you come back and your food's just waiting on you when you get back from the restroom?" Do you know that scene in Pulp Fiction that I'm talking about? Don't you just love it?
That scene.
Don't you just love it when you bet a home run bet and then the guy just takes the first pitch of the game over the fence? Like, don't you just love that? So you get the instant gratification as dunzo. Money is in the account. The game can't go south for you no matter what happens from here on out. And yes, Jose Altuve steps in the batter's box and he just goes yard right there to start the game. He was so happy, and as you said, not as happy as you.
No, not as happy as me. Cash the plus 850 home run prop on the first pitch of the baseball game, baby. Way to go, Bailey Ober. I appreciate you. Way to serve up
beautiful.
The
yes, just absolutely so beautiful. Guys, now joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, your friend and mine. He's sticking around for 2 segments with us, so we're going to get all of his thoughts today. It's Aaron Halterman. Find his work over at racingdudes.com. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I joined right as Altuve hit the home run. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what this show's going to be. Samich cashing bets left and right. Great. That's really what I want to see. But, hey, I'm here. I'm excited. Yeah, 2 segments, guys. It's going to be awesome.
We'll talk NHL, Major League Baseball next segment, so you guys stick around for that. And before we get into your horse picks for today, just quick kind of overall thoughts here. I know you don't have official bets in the account for the Final Four, but we can just kind of get your general thoughts here. It's 2.5 right now in favor of Florida. We were monitoring this line. At one book, it had gotten to 115, and then one book had gotten to 105, and we were like, oh, interesting. They're going in different directions with all this, but we still sit at 2.5 as it is right now. This has not gotten either to the 3 or the 2. What do you see in Florida and Auburn?
Gosh, I wanted to make Florida an official play and play it today, but I just couldn't do it because I just feel like it's just too much of a toss-up. It's, in conference game. I just feel like these 2 teams are kind of like carbon copies of each other in a way, the way they can score, the way they can get up and down the floor. So I almost sent in Florida minus 2.5. That's the lean, obviously, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. Sometimes you load up the bet into your account and you get ready to hit send, and you're like, you know what? I could see Auburn maybe winning this game. I'm going to stay away from it. I think it's going to be a great game. The total's high, but I do think it'll go over. Both these teams can really score. So I went back and forth, guys. I chickened out. I couldn't pull the trigger, but I do lean Auburn minus 2.5, Florida minus 2.5 and the over in this one.
Yeah, I went back and forth on the side as well. I did end up playing the over when it got down to 159. We saw this open at 162. The under money came in. I think we went too far here. So we saw the 171 the last time these two teams played. I do like the over in this spot. We'll see if it gets there. How about Houston and Duke? Another game where we've seen it kind of toggle. It was 4.5 early, got up to Houston or Duke minus 5.5. Now we're back to that 4.5, 5 number here on the Duke side. Total sitting between 136, 136.5. Anything you like in this spot?
The line movements were kind of weird to me, and they kind of scared me just a little bit. I like Duke to win the game. I think laying 5.5, though, that's a little too much for a Final Four game, although don't tell the UConn women that. They didn't have any trouble covering last night. But, 4.5, even if it got down to 4, maybe you start to lean on it a little bit. The problem with this game and why it is hard to kind of break it down, it's such a contrast in styles. I really think Houston's going to try to slow the game down, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that because Duke has so much talent. So it kind of just makes for a weird thing. I think whoever wins the pace of play will be the team that covers. I'm not sure even if Houston wins the pace of play, they'll win, but I do think they'll cover with that big of a margin. But again, it's another thing. I was kind of leaning Duke. I kind of thought about sending that one in, and then I was just like, you know what? If Houston slows this game down and we get like a 61-59 type of game, I wouldn't be absolutely shocked. So I chickened out again. It's another game. I just couldn't pull the trigger. If you want to play it, I think Duke is the right side. But I would not be shocked if Houston keeps this thing very close. They're very, very good. I think this is the best version of Houston that we've seen so far under Sampson.
Guys, this is Aaron Halterman. Find his work over at racingdudes.com. So let's go ahead and head to the track here. We do have the Santa Anita Derby today. I know you and Mike are going to want to chop this up a little bit about the field in general, but what are you looking at there in that race?
Well, first of all, horse racing has been crazy today. So, Matt, like your strategy of just picking a name, that could work today. It's been wild.
I like it. I like to hear that.
Santa Anita Derby. Right? I mean, it's just been wild. But Santa Anita Derby, this is a race where it really shouldn't be wild. We should see one of the big three, either Citizen Bull, Barnes, or Journalism, get the job done. And the interesting thing about this race is Bob Baffert trains Barnes and Citizen Bull. I expect him to send one horse to the lead, and I have the other horse kind of sitting back and trying to kind of mess with Journalism, who's already beaten Barnes before and did it pretty easily. So that's going to be the big key. What does Bob Baffert try to do? What tactics does he try to use? Because he's sitting there thinking, look, I've lost to Journalism before. How can we kind of turn the tables on this horse? He looks superior to us right now. This is what I'll say. No matter what games Bob Baffert tries to play with two horses that are very good, Citizen Bull and Barnes, I just think Journalism might just be better, and he might be able to overcome, whatever the Baffert tries to throw at him. It's a short field that sometimes leads to a little bit of a weird situation as well, but we've seen Journalism excel in these short fields in his last two races. So I'm on the number one Journalism again in the Santa Anita Derby, and if he wins here, I do think he becomes the favorite and a strong favorite to win the Kentucky Derby.
What do you think fair win odds are on Journalism here? I was thinking about that this morning. He's 6-5 on the morning line. What price would you need to put a win bet in on him? You should get close to that with the two Bafferts, but I'm not sure where he ends up falling.
I think realistically, when you look at morning lines, you have to think they're going to go down a few ticks from what they make it. Samich, I think 4-5. I think that's about right. I think that's realistically what you'd expect. He got a 109 buyer speed figure in his last race, and that number is what gets bet the most in horse racing, and it's just superior to anything we've seen. So I think he's going to get bet down to 4-5. I think that's where he's reasonable to play. Past that, you probably need to stay away because you do have the two Bob Bafferts. And look, it's tough to beat him. There's no doubt about it, but he's done it twice already, so it's just trying to beat Citizen Bull. He's already beaten Barnes, so I think 4-5 seems about right.
Man, I'm looking here. What's wrong with Westwood? What does he only have 3 legs or something? Like, what's the deal with this? Does he have all 4 legs?
Yeah.
Does he have a jockey, or does he have 2 jockeys, or why is he? What's wrong with him?
Well, he is taking on 4 horses that all could win the Kentucky Derby if they get in.
All right.
And he's never won a race. Other than that, though, totally open. Totally
okay. Well, then there we go. That makes sense there with that one. We got the Wood Memorial as well, Aaron, and I can't remember if I think this was Mike's horse or not. What do you like in the Wood Memorial?
Yeah, I went with the number 2 Captain Cook in the Wood Memorial. And this is definitely one of the weaker of Derby preps that we see every single year. And this year it's kind of feels the same as well. We had a big scratch of the number 6 Hill Road. That was a horse that was pretty interesting. So it makes it a little bit easier for the number 2 Captain Cook. Last time out in the Withers Stakes was the prep before this one, going 1.125 miles at Aqueduct. He was able to get the job done, and he looked very sharp doing it. So it's the same distance today as it was in his last start. So I just kind of looked at that race and said, you know what? If he can run the same type of race again, he's going to win here. It's tougher horses. There's no doubt about it, but they're not that much tougher than what he even faced last time out. So I just like that race enough. He's kind of the proven commodity. He likes Aqueduct, and we know, like I said, that he does like that 1.125 mile distance. So give me Captain Cook in what I think is a pretty weak running of the Wood.
I went and looked. Y'all are not on the same horse here, so y'all are head to head. Y'all got a fight in front of you.
We are head-to-head. However, if you go over to at VSiN Live over on YouTube.com, you can check out VSiN at the Track Road to the Kentucky Derby, which Aaron and I host together, and you'll find out we have the same top 2 picks just in reverse order. So I like the 7 Grande and the 2 Captain Cook in second. He's got Captain Cook on top and the 7 Grande in second. Aaron, if you had to find a price here in the Wood, because I know Matt's looking for names and looking for prices for his trifecta.
I am.
What direction do you go from a price perspective?
Yeah, there's a couple of horses that make sense for a price here, and I would not be shocked if we see an upset. Like I said, it's been kind of wild. What about the number 11 Statesman? I think this horse is very interesting. He struggled early in his career, but he's trained by a Hall of Famer, Shug McGahee, who kind of brings his horses around slower than some other trainers, kind of an old school method, so to speak. So you look at Statesman, he struggled early, but his last 2 races, he's been pretty good. He's bred to go 1.125 miles, and I think that's big. You know, when you go to 1.125 miles, only a certain few horses really like to run that distance. So Statesman, I think he's 15-1. I would expect him to be more like 10-1 by the time they get to post. So, yeah, Matt, I don't know if you like the name, but I think the price is going to be what you like to bet.
I mean, I was really hoping you were going to say Sand Devil. I was trying to toss that out there a little bit early. Mike does not like Sand Devil. Mike does not like. Again, I got to say money. Thank goodness that Bear Claw necklace got scratched, because that was gonna that saves me some money. I said he was 50-1, so that actually helps me out a ton. We will get your thoughts here on the Bluegrass whenever we come back, and of course we've got NHL talk, we've got Major League Baseball talk as well. Small sample size stuff here, Aaron, but I am curious in Major League Baseball if anything has maybe shifted you one way or another with all of that. So we'll talk that when we come back. Guys, just a reminder again, $59 every single thing that we do at VSiN from now until August the 1st over at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's the splits, that's the video feeds, that's the daily articles, that's every single thing that we get over at VSiN.com/subscribe. $59 now through August 1st.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Samich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Mike Samich. Quick update here. Tigers 7-2 over the White Sox. Astros 1-0 there on that leadoff home run by Jose Altuve over the Twins, and just getting going there, top of the first. Padres and the Cubs. Aaron Halterman holds over and joins us for a second segment here on the program. Just went through his Santa Anita pick of journalism, Wood Memorial pick of Captain Cook. Now let's get to the Bluegrass Stakes, which again has been delayed. So anybody that's going in like I did and was trying to bet the race today, you're not going to find it. However, go back in here in a couple of days and yeah, we'll get it in there.
I have a feeling you're not the only one that's messing that up today. It is so unnatural that this race is on a Tuesday. Samich, do you ever remember running a Derby prep on a Tuesday? I've never, ever remember this happening.
Yeah, I hit up our researchers this morning, and I don't believe we've ever had a major Derby prep on a Tuesday here. And this is a phenomenal card as well over at Keeneland. So you've got 5 graded stakes. It just got washed off, right? And so Keeneland did the right thing. They moved Friday and Saturday's cards to Monday and Tuesday. It creates phenomenal betting action midweek if you're looking for that. Like I said, I'll have an article up on this race over at racingdudes.com on Tuesday. So if you want to play Keeneland, great way to do it as well. But it creates a really interesting situation because we'll have a little better idea of what the Derby picture looks like heading into this race now as well, Aaron.
Yeah, and I don't know that this race is really going to factor in much as far as the Kentucky Derby is concerned, but we will kind of have here's what's established. Can anybody kind of jump up and get the job done? And when you look at the Bluegrass this year, it's a very interesting mix of horses coming in from everywhere. Hardly any of them have kind of faced similar horses, so it's hard to kind of decipher how they're going to match up. And then you kind of look at it, and we talked about 1 1/8 and the distance that kind of is a separator in the last segment. Well, here you've got horses. Most of them are pretty questionable if they want to get 1 1/8. And the other ones that you kind of think, okay, they're bred to do it, they haven't been very good lately. So it makes for an interesting mix of horses. I ended up going to the number 4, Owen Almighty, on top in this spot. He is one of the horses that I think it's a little questionable that he wants to go 1 1/8, but he has been excellent going 1 1/16 at Tampa Bay Downs in his last 2 starts, especially last time out in the Tampa Bay Derby. He absolutely destroyed that field. A little bit tougher of a group here, but I don't think just a ton tougher. If he can get that extra 16th of the mile, I think he is the most talented horse in the race. So, but again, like I was kind of saying, I'm not sure we got Kentucky Derby type horses in here, and it's not a race to have a lot of confidence in. But I do think the number 4, Owen Almighty, is worth a look at 3-1 on the morning line.
Let's head over to the hockey side of things. Yes, the NHL is still going. I know it seems like all we talk about right now is the Final Four, but we have the Winnipeg Jets going against the Utah Hockey Club. This is about a coin flip there on the line, 115, 105-ish, something like that out there. 5.5 is our total, but you are going to an alternate way to play this.
Yeah, I'm going to go aggressive with this one. I'm going to go aggressive and lay the 1.5 with Winnipeg. Last time I checked, it was plus 190. It's kind of been plus 180, plus 190 every time I've looked at it. So, yeah, with the Jets here in this situation, they really need to still keep winning games. They're number 1 in their division right now, but the Dallas Stars are kind of nipping on their heels a little bit. So, still a lot of motivation for the Jets to go out and get the job done. They're going to Utah, so they are going on the road. There's your risk with laying a 1.5. But you look at this Utah team, they are just not a team that scores a lot of goals. So I'm feeling confident if Winnipeg wins the game, it will be by more than 1. And I love the price. I just think that's too high for a team like Winnipeg going on the road facing Utah. Utah, they're about out of it. Winnipeg could kind of put the final nail in the coffin here with a victory because Samich, our Blues have ran away with this thing in the wild card and buried Utah. So I had to get that in. So anyway, I do think Winnipeg's worth the play here, laying that 1.5 and getting that juicy price.
Yeah, this line surprised me. I was like, oh, did they play yesterday? They're playing tomorrow. Is this not going to be a Hellebuck game? Because Winnipeg does need these points still, and we're sitting here, and it is going to be Hellebuck, or it's supposed to be Hellebuck today. And so you didn't have a game last night, don't have a game tomorrow. So I agree with you here. I don't mind the price here. And you're getting up to plus 210 in some places now on the Jets laying that 1.5. So I think that is a very good look. Now, from one division leader to the other here in the Western Conference, the Vegas Golden Knights in action today as well, taking on the Calgary Flames, another team that's well, we'll just say their flame has gone out and their chance to win the playoffs here or get to the playoffs because of what the Blues and the Wild have done. You like the Knights tonight as well?
I do. I think this is a good bounce back spot for Vegas. I know I listened to Bruce Cassidy's postgame comments, the head coach there at Vegas, a lot. He was super, super upset in the last game where Winnipeg came in there and kind of rocked Vegas right there on their home ice. And the game before, they did not play well against Edmonton, and they got beat at home again. So that being said, I expect this Vegas team to really respond with a big effort in Calgary tonight. Again, you're laying the 1.5. I'm getting plus 160, 170, kind of depending on where you look. So again, you're on the road, and that is kind of the risk. I know some people don't want to lay that 1.5 on the road, but I think this is a good bounce back spot. I think Vegas will be ready to play tonight. I think they match up very well with Calgary anyway. They played twice. Total score in those 2 games, 8-0. Vegas beat them 5-0 and 3-0 in the 2 games. So obviously, if you look and you go, okay, if they can shut them down again, we may cash this thing and only need 3 goals, win 3-1 or even 2-0. So I thought, again, the price made sense to give this a shot. And I do think you see Vegas's best effort tonight after 2 games that were not up to the standards of of the Golden Knights in the last 2 games there at home.
Talking to Aaron Halterman. Find his work over on racingdudes.com. Aaron, let's go over to Major League Baseball, where the Diamondbacks are on the road at the Nationals. Eduardo Rodriguez versus Mitchell Parker. This is minus 130. D-backs on the road as favorites, plus 110. Nats at home as dogs. A flat 9 is our total, though juiced towards the over there in that one. What you like?
Well, I heard you guys breaking down this game on the last segment before I came on, and I thought it was a pretty good breakdown, and I agreed with both of you guys. So I took the Diamondbacks minus the 1.5 here to get that plus money price. If you just want to play them at minus 130, I don't think that's bad either. But, Matt, you were talking about Parker pitching for Washington, and he is kind of the thing that you worry about if you're taking the D-backs because he was very good in his first game. That was the only win Washington has is when Parker pitched, and he shut down the Phillies, a pretty good lineup. I tend to look at this and go, you know what? I'm not sure he can do that 2 games in a row. I think he'll kind of, regress a little bit towards what he actually is going to be, which is a good pitcher, but I don't think he's like a shutdown guy just yet. So I thought it was the right price to take Arizona minus the 1.5. Again, if you wanted to do minus 130, that's okay as well. You do kind of have to swallow the fact that it is Rodriguez, who's just okay. But I will say this, I think against Washington, he's going to give you a chance to win the game. It's not a seller lineup. So I took the D-backs. I like them quite a bit this season. Unfortunately, they're in a very, very tough division, so they could be a very good team and maybe even not make the playoffs. But I think during the regular season, they're a team you want to bet when you kind of get situations like we've got today.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of liability to D-back second in the NL West. You got to win these type of games if you're going to finish second in the NL West. So hopefully they're able to get the job done here in this spot. Let's look at one other late game that we have here on the slate. The Orioles heading into Kansas City to take on the Royals here. Right now, the Royals a short favorite at minus 120. Which side do you like in this spot?
Yeah, I took the underdog. I took Baltimore plus the 100 here in this one. And look, it for me, when you get games like this that you think, they kind of look like a coin flip, well, you might as well take the better price that you're getting in this kind of situation. I do like to bet Baltimore. They were pretty pathetic towards the end of last year, really the last month and a half of the season. But past that, they were a good team to bet last year. They're off to a little bit of a slow start, but I kind of look at this matchup, Waka on the mound tonight for the Royals, and I think, you know what? I think if Baltimore shows up ready to go, I think they're going to hit him. I think they're going to get to the bullpen early, and I think they could cause some problems. So I do like the Orioles here. Now, I live about 2 hours from Kansas City. I'm going to tell you right now, the weather is terrible here today. It's very cold. You might look at some unders because this is not good hitting weather here in Missouri or really anywhere in the middle of the country. It's been a disaster. But so I would look unders as well, but I think Baltimore gets it done. I do think they'll hit Waka tonight and get the job done. So flipper type of game, coin flipper, I'm going to go with Baltimore. Oh,
I'm looking at this here, Aaron. Yeah, we've got like low 40s and 15-mile-an-hour winds looks like blowing in from left field maybe later or something. So, yeah, maybe some underlooks for sure.
Yeah, it sucks here today. I'm going to tell you guys that. It's terrible.
Gunnar Henderson back at the top of that order there, though, for the Baltimore Orioles. So they're glad to have him back. A couple of home runs in his rehab assignment, so it looks like he is fully recovered from that injury that kept him out the last few weeks of spring training. Aaron, before I let you go, we got about 30 seconds here. Any overreactions to the early part of the season or, anything that you have kind of taken away in the very small sample size?
Not really. We just haven't seen enough yet. I will say this. I don't think it's a good sign that Atlanta went out and got swept both at L.A. and San Diego. So that has me worried, but it's still too early to just absolutely panic on anything yet. But that is the one thing that does kind of stick out. It's like you got to win a game or two out there, guys. So we'll see how they kind of progress as they get an easier schedule now the next couple of weeks.
He is Aaron Halterman. Find his work over on racingdudes.com. And, of course, kind enough to join us here on this very network for not one but two different segments. Again, Winnipeg Jets, Vegas Golden Knights, Arizona Diamondbacks, Baltimore Orioles today up in the Santa Anita Derby, journalism in the Wood Memorial, going with Captain Cook. Aaron, appreciate the time, buddy, and good luck today.
All right, thanks, guys.
Mike, the winds are blowing over there in San Antonio. We got an interesting little leaderboard over in golf, but when we come back, good news, bad news.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Samich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Matt and Mike here on Ready, Set, Bet. As we said over there at the Valero Texas Open, Mike, 17-mile-an-hour sustained. We're getting some gusts up into that mid-20s and whatever. And what we're seeing is everybody either losing or stuck in the mud. There is nothing going on here in this one. Brian Harman started the day at 12 under. He is at 10 under. You see everybody else at 7 and 6 because they just can't catch up with these conditions either. So could get interesting here actually over the afternoon.
17-mile-per-hour winds bring some variance in, Matt.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Harman's able to kind of close this round out. He's 2 over through 6, so that's not great. We'll see if he gives up any more ground as he comes home. But again, as you mentioned, no one really making up any ground. So he's still got that 3-stroke lead on the field, although he is 2 over.
We will talk a lot of draft here a little bit later in the show, but did want to bring this up, Mike. This is coming from Jim Wyatt, and if you guys are following kind of like beat writers and stuff, like Jim Wyatt has been a Titans guy for like 25 years or so, like basically since the Titans have been the Titans. So he's in with them for sure. After yesterday's Colorado Pro Day, the Titans met with Shedeur Sanders' camp and canceled his upcoming private workout, if that tells anybody anything about what's going on. Like Cam Ward is, I know sometimes like we look at these bets and, it's like, dude, I'm not laying minus 500 or 600 or 700 or whatever, like, but with the draft, when the writing is on the wall, the writing is on the wall, and they literally canceled the private workout with him because they're just like, cool, we saw what we needed to. We're going the other direction.
The classic, let's not waste each other's time. Yeah. Right? That one where you're like, this is not going to work out, so why not just end the process here? Yeah, Cam Ward clearly looks like he's the number 1 pick. He's number 1 if the Titans take him. He's number 1 if anyone trades up for him. So very hard-pressed to find anyone else who's going to take over that position, especially with what happened with Shedeur Sanders. Like you said, it goes back to the fact that this is a information betting market. This is not a game betting market. The variance is much different in those two. I don't mind laying big numbers. Cam Ward seems like he's a pretty much, I'm not going to say a lock, right? But he is highly probable to now go in that number 1 spot. And come draft day, minus 600 is going to seem like a great price, Matt.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, again, we'll talk some draft a little bit later on these picks prices, but sometimes you got to lay the big number because it's going to win. Like, I mean, it's going to win. So it doesn't really matter. As we do, guys, each and every Saturday and Sunday here on the program, we go around, search this great sports world of ours, gather up some news and let you know whether it's good or bad.
News. Is it good news?
I got great news, guys.
Or is it bad news?
What type of news is it? Well, to be perfectly frank, it's bad.
So, Mike, the trade with the Raiders that brings Geno Smith to town, we were like, okay, whatever, some stability at the quarterback position. Like, we're never going to really curse a team for going out and trying to, at the most important position in all of sports, to try to have, some stability there. However, they go out and they give Geno Smith an extension with a ton of guaranteed money in all this, where they didn't really have to do that, and it made a move that I thought, like, whatever, it's fine. They got to do what they got to do. Now becomes super puzzling because you didn't have to do this. I don't know why the Raiders went and did this and guaranteed Geno just this huge amount of money.
First off, this is bad news for Shedeur Sanders, right? Because this closes another door for Shedeur Sanders. When you give Geno Smith this extension, the additional money, you're probably not drafting a quarterback this year. So another team that is now out of that quarterback race there in the draft. Definitely a head scratcher because of the guaranteed money. Like you said, like we've seen contracts where, it's 4 years and, after the second year you have an out for the team and all that type of thing. This isn't one of those contracts, at least that I have seen, where you have a logical out point here for the Raiders. And so it looks like Geno Smith can be a Raider for at least a little while, Matt, which is surprising to me. I did think that they would want to grow, find a way to go younger here at the quarterback position sometime in this year or next year's draft.
Yeah, like I kind of, like I said, I understood the move, at least on the surface. You bring in someone that, like, and we said this 20 different times last year about Geno Smith. While the ceiling is not incredibly high, at least the floor is fairly high, right? Like, you kind of know what you get in Geno Smith, and I think for some teams that's good enough, specifically if you're a team like the Raiders, in which you've been doing this up and down, peaks and valleys stuff with the quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew plays one good game, then plays 2 bad games, and you go out and Aiden O'Connell looks at least halfway decent and then plays 3 miserable games. Like, you want a little bit of stability there, but man, I don't know. You just look around and you guaranteed him all this money, and you love Bowers, but outside of that, what do you like? That's the thing. It's like, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't. I can't really wrap my brain around this here.
Yeah, I like, bringing an adult into the room.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing with the head coach and Pete Carroll and doing it with Geno Smith. You want to change the organization, specifically the atmosphere inside the building. I get that. That all makes sense. But again, you kind of need to get younger here. You need to start figuring out how you're going to build an overall franchise, and inking an older quarterback who's a bridge quarterback to a longer-term guaranteed money deal doesn't seem like a great way to do that, does it?
Yeah. No, not at all. And that's like you said, I mean, this just definitely shuts down Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders, which is still sitting 10-1 out there in the market. To me, seems like that number should be way bigger.
Yeah. I think Shedeur's a Brown, but we can get to that later.
Yeah, we will. And I back that up with my finances. So we'll talk about that as well. So we talked about the Braves a couple different times here over the course of the show. The Braves start off terribly, and they do get a win. This division is at least somewhat interesting. If you go out there, and there are holes in pretty much all of these teams over there in the NL East, Mike. And so even though the Phillies are sitting 6-1, Braves at 1-7, I don't know if the Braves aren't still bettable. You're going to get Spencer Strider back. You're going to get Ronald Acuna back. The hitting it can't be this bad all season. So, I mean, like, I know we say a lot of times you can't just assume regression, but, like, when it is this poor, there has to be positive regression. I mean, it cannot be this bad the entire season with at least the talent that they have on the team. Still small sample size here. You could get in on the Braves at a better price than you could have, a week ago. I mean, I don't hate it.
No, I don't either. I wouldn't panic and play the no to make the playoffs. That's sitting at plus 180. I think that's not accurate for what the actual chances of the Braves making the playoffs are at this point. And look, you said it, right? This is just 8 games in, and you can't say, oh, there's definitely going to be positive regression. But when you have 154 games left, it's highly likely, like 98% chance that you're going to have positive regression for the Braves over the course of that long of a season, specifically with the bats. As Aaron mentioned, it was the Dodgers and the Padres, 2 teams that are very good. Yes, you would have liked to pull out 1 or 2 of those games, but it's not the worst case scenario here. It's not like you were losing games to the Nationals and you were losing games to the Marlins, right? There's still going to be plenty of games that are winnable for the Braves. I do think that this is a team where if you liked them before the season started, this isn't a terrible time to get in on them if you didn't get a bet in to win the division. Yeah,
and I look at this also from the standpoint of the team that's leading that division in the Philadelphia Phillies. The handicap is still the same, which is, yes, the talent is there for this Phillies team. No one's going to deny that. They're just old, Mike. Like there's like, if we go over history, when you have a team that's made up of a bunch of 30 plus year old dudes, injuries happen. Guys end up on the sidelines. And so the handicap really hasn't changed in this division all that much. We expected the Phillies to be good, but how long can they be good if 2 of their guys go down? I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Kind of feels like an Auburn 10-4 lead in the first half, right,
yeah.
Matt? We're like, hey, you want plus money with Florida? Here you go. Here's your chance.
Exactly.
It kind of feels very similar to that outcome if we see it today.
So you and I didn't do a show together as you were out last week. So, the whole torpedo bat thing takes the news cycle by storm. We come to find out that these things have been being made forever and they were used last year. It's because it was the Yankees and they hit a bunch of home runs.
It was the 3-homer game from Judge. Everything.
And he didn't even use them, which is another one of the funny things about all of that. But, look, are you using this in your handicapping at all? I mean, I'm like, no, because I don't know who uses them, when they use them, how long they will use them. It doesn't change anything for me.
No. It doesn't change anything at all for me. I don't care who's using torpedo bat. If they were that good, everyone would be using them already, right? If there was that big of an edge. Now, if someone thinks that they are better with it, great. Go ahead, use it. No problem with that. But I'm not adjusting the totals in my games. I'm not adjusting the home run aspect that I expect players to hit home run rates at. I don't think that there is any big thing here with the torpedo bat. If we start to see statistics that make me believe otherwise, I'm happy to change my opinion on it. But at this point, I haven't seen anything concrete that makes me feel like this torpedo bat's a massive advantage for the hitters.
No, not at all. Me either. Guys, of course, we have that free newsletter. Be sure and sign up. You can get that absolutely free. Again, and Bill throws picks in there, including Stormy's picks that she has today. She's going in the Wood Memorial. She's going to Captain Cook over in the Wood Memorial there, Mike. Journalism, though, in the Santa Anita. She likes Houston. She likes Auburn, taking the points there as well. Guys, if you haven't done so already, sign up over at Edge Boost. It is a bank account built for bettors. You get all your transactions in the gambling world approved. No usage fees, no minimums. You can earn cash back. 100% approval, again, for all betting deposits. EdgeBoost.bet with the promo code BET. Deposit $25, and they will match that $25 over at Edge Boost. That is EdgeBoost.bet.